Well, hello and welcome to Crappy Hour, February 3rd, 2025. I'm Ronnie Karam. That's Ben Mandelker over there. Hello, Ben.
Hi, Ronnie. How's it going?
Good. What's going on with you, baby?
Not much. Just getting back into the swing of things back in LA. Feels good to be back here. What's going on with you?
Same. Laundry. Back to the unglamorous life. Like fly back, and you got to do all the crap that you left behind the first time. I was like, guess I should clean out the fridge now.
I know, same. There's a lot of sad vegetables that wound up in the bin. But it's just getting back into the swing of things. But I'm excited to talk some Crappy Hour with you today. And
yeah.
By the way, we said it on the show earlier today, but for those who didn't hear it, thanks again to everyone who showed up at our show on Saturday, whether they were, and honestly, also in San Diego and San Francisco, but whether you were an audience member or a guest or anything else, really, thank you so much. We had so much fun putting on that show. It was so much work, and you guys made it all worth it. Really, it was the best one we've ever done. It was kind of like a thrill of a lifetime for me, with no exaggeration.
That was a really fun time. The audience was lit. And then going out after and meeting so many of you was so nice. Everybody's so sweet. Everyone's so nice to each other. You know, there were all these people who came alone. And then by the end, they had the whole tribe. You had Richie D. Caduce over there. He made an amazing party, both pre-show
Ross,
and after
too.
show. And who?
Ross also was Ross in the Crappens Reddit was also very active in creating that party, I think.
Yes, thank you guys. It was so good. Yeah. I have to hand it to Richie D. That guy can party his face off. I mean, they started at 6 and he was still there at 11:30 when we finally got there. And still standing, barely, but still standing. Cutest red suit. They had a whole drink menu. I mean, the whole thing was great, Yeah. Love you guys.
It was fabulous. And by the way, I don't want to take credit away from Richie if he was the one who organized it. I just saw Ross had done a big giant post on Reddit with lots of information. So at the very least, thank you, Ross, for helping organize and let people know where to go, etc. We only put in 30 minutes because we had to fly out the next day. But it was a really, really great night. It was a big deal for me personally. So I just thanks everyone.
Well, so some big news went down in the Bravo sphere since the last Crappy Hour. The biggest and the most shocking, honestly, is they're bringing back Gretchen. So here's my question. Gretchen is coming back to OC. Did Andy just stop having a say? Did they just fire Andy and didn't tell anybody? Because I can't imagine him being okay with that. I can't imagine Andy being like, what's a good idea? Let's bring back Gretchen. What do you think?
I know. It's not that Gretchen was so bad.
Gretchen
but But in the beginning, there have been way worse people. But the producers themselves acknowledged that after Tamra kind of destroyed Gretchen after her first season, Gretchen became more and more closed off. And I do remember that when they had that behind the scenes of season 8 or 9 of Orange County, for a moment, Bravo was doing this thing where they took us inside Real Housewives. And so they did one of her final season, which Lydia was on also. And the producers said on that special that after Tamra raked Gretchen over the coals about that phone call, whatever, after Gretchen's first season, Gretchen really put up a lot of walls and she became less and less authentic to who she was, to the point that eventually they had to get rid of her because she just wasn't giving them what they want. So I was surprised given that background, they brought Gretchen back into the mix. It's what is Gretchen offering? And do we really need Slade Smiley? Jesus. I honestly feel it's some play that, the political climate has changed in this country, and Gretchen Rossi kind of feels like she matches the current political climate. So I think Bravo's kind of let's match that. That's the only thing I can really
I'm sorry to disagree with you so early on, but this whole poor Gretchen, she was bullied by Tamra, so she put walls up. No, I can't. I can't with that. She was bullied by Tamra, but everybody's bullied by Tamra. They still survive. And the walls up weren't the problem. The Slade was the problem. The Slade of it all was
Slade,
the problem.
100%. She
got with Slade and then became everything was a fake, a helicopter landing on a roof and writing the song and this. I mean, all of that got to be
He started
really,
calling
really
the shots. Clearly, like because Slade is like very intentional about his image, and that's why he's always been unpleasant to watch, because you never feel like it's authentic. He's just annoying, and I think that he did start to really, I think he did start to really impact how she presented herself. I think it was a combination. I think that she was so burned by Tamara, and then this guy came into her life and was like, "This is actually how you got to go forward with the show," and then she just sort of,
she became really
bought into
influencing and weird. Is the only way. And that was before influencing was like a thing, right?
All I know, yes. And all I know is that like these days, just Gretchen, the way she just like airbrushes the fuck out of her face, like I'm all for airbrushing your face, do some touch ups, add some filters, but it is literally like, it's like looking through frosted glass with eyeballs. It's strange.
She gets a lot of crap for airbrushing her child. She's one of those who like tries to take wrinkles off of a 2-year-old or whatever that baby is, however old that child is. But she I'm sorry, I got confused. I'm reading comments at the same time, so I'm sorry. But she started getting into a lot of trouble for airbrushing the child. Let me just say, I know that people find that disgusting. Like, how could you give a child these horrible feelings about themselves? And I wish we had that in the 80s, because I could have used it. I mean, the pictures my mother posts now or has now around her house are just hideous. I could have used some airbrushing. I mean, she would have had me looking like a little stick figure. I never would have been in the Dillard's Husky fashion show. I would have been in the Dillard's Thin fashion show. It's like, we'll fix it in post. We'll fix Rondell in post. All right. Spring in the chubby kid. We'll make him look like a stick figure later.
So Gretchen, she is back in the mix for reasons.
I told you this already, but I saw a post of hers and she was driving and her kid was in the back in her little car seat. And she's cute. She's like a little, I don't want to say John Bonet because that's like such a tragic story, but like one of those toddlers and tiara kids, like really made up, like in my mind, like full face of makeup. I'm sure she didn't have a full face of makeup, but in my mind, it's like full face of makeup, crazy hairsprayed hair and all this, sitting in the car seat. And Gretchen's like, well, what are we living for today, honey? And her kid's like, Jesus. And she goes, Jesus. And she hashtagged it like hashtag Jesus, hashtag living for Jesus. It's just like, wow, I think Jesus just thank you for all the followers. You know what I mean? Because he doesn't have enough. Jesus is like, I'm already the #1 person on Instagram. I've been beating Selena Gomez for years. And now I need Gretchen. Thanks, Gretchen. Thirsty. I would just like to think Jesus took that moment to thank Gretchen for being a thirsty ass.
He probably did. I think it's important. I think it's important to note, by the way, that Gretchen is only going to be a friend of, which I think is really like, that's an important distinction. And it's also helpful because like if she were not friend of, that would be like a full Gretchen, housewife moment would be hard. But as a friend of, it means that hopefully that Slade will be minimized and she'll just pop in group dinners, which may be fine. I think it's just that if she has to bear the weight of being a housewife where we have to see scenes of her at home, doing, yoga with Slade or pretending to do who knows what, like that would be tough.
Yeah. And people are saying friend of who? Friend of Katie Janela. First of all, Katie is one of the first, and by the way, Katie could have gone either way for me her first season. I thought she was pretty chill. I thought the whole trying to get Heather over the paparazzi was kind of stupid because it was last season anyway. And everybody who watched last season already knew that stuff about Heather. But, you want to like Katie because she did have guts to stand up to, to come for Heather, which I think shows some stones, but this article that we've been reading, this Us Weekly article is Katie Janela, where Gretchen Rossi stands with the RHOC cast before her return. Everybody was kissing her butt on Instagram. Heather was like, welcome back at Gretchen Rossi. Swipe for some fun memories and some bad hair and some sitcom. She's posting like Reba pictures, but basically everyone's saying where they stand. And Katie Janela says, when you join the cast, you hear about ex-cast members, but I just want to give what I get. And I met Gretchen. She's lovely. We became really good friends, and Jen and I hang out with her all the time. Please don't let this be my Jen and Katie canceling season, because Katie I don't care that much about, but I don't want to have to like get rid of Jen in my mind.
Well, I mean, you have to imagine that Jen was hanging out with Gretchen because, it just seems to just makes sense. Katie is a little surprising though. I don't know. I don't know Katie very well. I just don't see her enjoying Gretchen. I would see her being just like annoyed by her. But Katie also grew up in Georgia, where there were a lot of like women with big blonde hair, not as much as Texas. And so maybe like it's somehow like a nostalgia play for, and even though like definitely Gretchen is not a Georgian, and she definitely is not like, doesn't play like that. But I'm just saying that like, maybe there's something there that like, that Katie may connect with in some strange way.
Yeah. Well, Tamara wrote on her Instagram, when she found out about Gretchen's return, I guess it's time to dust off those friendship bracelets. My bestie's back. Wink. Orange. Hashtag Real Housewives of OC. Hashtag I was baptized, bitch.
And then Shannon Bedore, she posted a photo together. And, what? In 2021, it says Gretchen expressed her support for Shannon after she had a falling out with Tamara. For goodness sakes, her best friend Shannon and her are no longer friends, Gretchen shared with us in 2021. After a while, you start to look at the common denominator and you start to go, however, okay, well, who's the problem here? So obviously, like Gretchen still has beef with Tamara, so that's always fun.
Yeah. It'll be fun to watch those two go at it. So that was the first thing. What else happened while we were away? While we've been away?
Another thing that happened was Spencer Pratt and Andy Cohen are sort of in like a low wattage feud at the moment. Spencer, I'm pulling up the actual article. But there was some press spilled because people were telling Heidi, if I remember correctly, people were telling Heidi, you should go and watch Happens Live. And then Spencer's like, why would we go on and watch Happens Live when Andy Cohen called Heidi trash? Something along those lines. He's okay. The specific tweet is, oh yeah, the person who said he would rather scratch his eyes out than watch my wife. Hard pass. Hello. Who hasn't said that? Okay. Listen, if you were alive in the year 2006 or 2007, we all said that about Heidi. So just relax.
Yeah, calm down over there. He was encouraging people to stream his wife's music, and it took off on TikTok with celebrities like Julia Fox and Emily something posting videos to the audio. And they've soared in popularity. But Pratt is not too happy with Cohen. Pratt was quick to say no in response to a user on X. The person who said he would rather scratch his eyes out than watch my wife, hard pass, Pratt wrote. Another ex-user then wrote back to Pratt, urging him to give Cohen a second chance. It was Lisa Vanderpump. She's like, please give Andy a second chance. And he's like, LOL, yeah, so lucky the guy that bashes my wife gonna be so lucky to sit with him. Rather sit in my burned house rubble, he shared.
So some of the history of this is that in 2023, Heidi went on the record saying Andy's preconceived notions have held back her potential as a housewife. Heidi reminded her audience that Andy made a statement a while ago that he would never want me as a real housewife. Also, Andy said Heidi wasn't for the franchise. Well, Heidi, you just have to deal with that. Okay, because you're not a real housewife. You're not real housewife worthy. Just because you're kids and you're a housewife doesn't mean you're real housewife worthy. Okay, we already have Emily and Gina. We don't need Heidi to be in the mix.
Well, I was going to say, if Emily and Gina are housewife worthy, why not Heidi Montag? I mean, maybe not Beverly Hills, but she's definitely OC worthy. I say bring Heidi Montag on. I want to see what she's doing. I haven't seen her in ages.
If Heidi were smart, she would have like moved to Manhattan and tried to get onto Summer House. Like maybe she would have had something there. Although again, she has kids, so I don't really know. Southern Charm may have been a play for her, but like she's not going to be able to hang with on Beverly Hills. Like she's just not Beverly Hills quality. And Sutton will destroy her.
OC.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely has OC qualities to her. I think she's also still too young.
She's still too young. She's a little younger than us.
I know, but let's see. Heidi Montag age. But she reads so okay, so Heidi Montag. Oh God, I'm about to blow everyone's mind.
I could be a seasoned Real Housewife. What do you think of that?
Okay, how about this? Does anyone want to just deal with something I'm about to say? Is everyone ready to process this? Because I'm about to say something.
I don't know. I need a hint. You can't just say something. I need to know a hint of the trigger.
No, everyone. Okay, we're all going to virtually hold our hands. Okay, everyone in the chat. Everyone, let's hold hands. Heidi Montag is older than Erin Leachy. That's just so wild to me. That is crazy. How is Heidi Montag older than Erin from Real Housewives of New York?
How old is she?
Heidi is 38. And we knew that like she was in like late 30s, but it's just weird like that Erin is 37. I mean, there's so many people that are older than Erin, like Sheena, Dodie, but just Erin, her entire vibe is like significantly older, and all of them, their vibe is significantly younger. It's a strange world.
Yeah. Well, I brought up another article that supposedly Andy dredges up another article or another fight about it, but I don't see any Cohen. He just says, by the way, there were things that we said and did on TV 14 years ago that we wouldn't do now. It was just a different universe, but, you know, I'm not trying to justify it, you know, because he had apologized. Andy apologized, I guess. So I wonder what it was. Things that happened 14 years ago. That's when he called her trash. So Spencer's mad about something from 14 years ago. No, that's why you need to go on The Real Housewives. You'll have so many new things to be upset about, you know? Being on Bravo, that'll give you a whole new slew of shit to be mad about. Come on back, baby.
It's also really hard to jump from like the Viacom ecosystem to the Comcast ecosystem. And like at the heart of it, Spencer and Heidi, they're MTV kids. You know, you just can't go from MTV to Bravo. It's a different world.
I think we're just going to have to agree to disagree on this because OC needs her. I said it. And their house burned down, which is completely tragic. But sometimes life works in mysterious ways. Maybe they can move to Orange County now. You know, they're looking. So they move there and be on OC. I'm for it. I think Heidi would be great. And I love that whole season where everyone kind of turned on Heidi and then Heidi didn't stand for it. And then Spencer told everybody off. I mean, I think they're perfect housewives people. Spencer would be one of the housewives.
So here's my thing. The Hills was such a low-key show where, I mean, like the biggest spat that ever happened on The Hills was like, you know, I know what you did. I know what you know what you did, or like, I want to forgive you and I want to forget you, you know, and that I remember at the time it was like, oh my God, or like Heidi did not hang out with LC. And like, I can't believe Heidi did that. Like, it's like, oh my God, because the show is so subtle that anytime there was any sort of like ripple or whatever, you just felt it. But like that vibe, I don't know if it's going to work as well. I don't know if Heidi is up to snuff for even OC, although it would be fun to see Shannon Bedore getting annoyed by Heidi, and it would be great to see Heather Dubrow take Heidi down a peg or two. So, you know, you may be onto something. I don't see Heidi taking down Heather Dubrow. Like I don't see Heather
down a peg or two. I didn't say take her down. I said down a peg or two.
I don't even think I don't even know how that could happen. I mean, sure. Now at this point, I'm curious. So like maybe it'll be interesting to see how that works, but I don't know.
Okay, so we'll agree to just miss them in our own ways. How about that? Because
what about Salt Lake City
anyway? So who cares? It's not like it's even a real thing. We're talking about a comment from 14 years ago for half an hour because we're us, but it's not even a real thing that happened. You know, it's just
I know
Spencer made some dumb tweet about it. So who even cares for now? But let's put it out into the universe and hope that the conversation is even started because those kids deserve a chance. That's what I say. With something. Somewhere.
It's time for a commercial. It's time for a Crappens commercial.
So Karen Huger was supposed to be sentenced, I think, today or yesterday. And she went to rehab, as we all know. And she got new lawyers so they could move her sentencing. Now, they didn't move it that far up. They just moved it to the end of the month. But it was kind of a tricky move on her part. And she's mad. And now it looks like on the reunion, people are going to be claiming that she had someone else in her car driving, like a boyfriend or something. And she'd said, I think in the video, like, Ray, it wasn't me. It was the security you hired for me. So she's kind of blaming Ray. But I guess she's saying that they hit a tree and then somebody ran away from the tree. And they're like, was she fucking the guy who ran away from the tree? We'll have to wait for the reunion to hear all of these accusations. But it'll be interesting if she brings any of this stuff up in court because that's crazy.
Yeah, if there happened to be another person who fled, it's like that's wild. That's like Bonfire of the Vanities right there. You know, you're with your you're with your side piece, and then the side piece causes an accident, but you don't want to unravel the marriage, so you take the hit to protect your infidelity. I love it.
Well, now that you say that, by the way, Melanie Griffith, Real Housewives, bring it.
Oh, now that I support that. I think Melanie Griffith on Beverly Hills would be wonderful.
And Don Johnson just trying to hide from the cameras all the time, and God knows what he'll be caught doing. You know?
Dakota Johnson showing up and being boring. Yeah, I think that
Dakota Johnson. She's so pretty.
She is really pretty, and she did take down Ellen DeGeneres, which who would have thought that it was going to be Dakota Johnson to land the death blow?
Yeah, she came for Ellen DeGeneres, so don't count her out.
Yeah, I don't know why am I so mean to Dakota Johnson. I like you, Dakota Johnson. I take it all back. You've done great work.
No, don't take it back. It doesn't count. You have to keep it. Stick to your guns.
Dakota, you're boring.
Come for Dakota.
You're boring. Dakota, you're boring, and you're not worth. You're not like Real Housewives worthy. However, your mother is. So tell her to do it.
Like that's Dakota's dream. I think Dakota's doing kind of bigger things, I guess. So she doesn't care. There, I stand for Dakota as Dakota's new friend. Dakota,
yeah, as a Dakota apologist.
Ben Mantelker hates Dakota.
Dakota Fanning,
and he also hates Dakota Fanning. Just spread it, everybody.
Well, I'm going to talk about someone who should not be in the Real Housewives. I want to say, though, going back to the Heidi thing, I had mentioned it. I wasn't going to go back to it, but now that we're back on this topic, Heidi Montag, I think, would be actually very good on Salt Lake City. She is originally from Denver, or from Colorado, so she's already from that time zone. And I think that like she and like Whitney, like that seems like I can imagine it. Like I see her in that mix.
Yeah. Okay. I will not do that because I don't want to destroy that cast. I think that cast is perfect as it is. So I'm not gonna wish anybody on or off of that cast. Bring them all back.
By the way,
forever.
Someone has said something slanderous in the comments, which says Ben hates all Dakotas, including North and South. I do not hate North and South Dakota. I actually would love to go there. I saw
North Dakota.
Could you imagine? Like, I hate North and South Dakota, guys. I would love to go to either of the Dakotas.
Okay, let's go.
Let's do it.
You only listen one life. You only have one life. It's never too late to go to North Dakota. My great aunt Georgette was from North Dakota, and I always said, I want to go visit where you're from. You know, it's just something you say while you're playing, bastra with your Lebanese aunties. And she was like, no, you don't, honey. She's like, honey, no, you don't want to go there. It's too cold for you. So that's why I've never gone.
Well, I would be happy to see Mount Rushmore. Is that Mount Rushmore's in South Dakota, though, right? It's not in North.
Girl, right? I don't know. I talk about Bravo. I ain't talking about no mounts.
Amanda in the comments. Amanda in the comments
I know where Mount Rushmore is.
Amanda in the comments has a very strong position. She says, "Merge the Dakotas" with an exclamation point. Finally, a political message we can all get behind. Bring them all together. That way, it's much easier to hit the 50 states.
Yeah, and the actresses like Dakota Fanning, Johnson.
All the Dakotas.
Start putting them all in the same thing. They've probably both got Tom Cruise trauma stories. I mean, just put them all
Frank
together.
And Dakota. A Frank and Dakota. I love it.
Okay, so let's see what else is happening over here.
I'm going back.
The lesbian comment about Kyle Richards. Dun, dun, dun. This, going through all the links, because I basically, to gather links, I go to the Real Housewives discussion Reddit and I just steal links from them because they're so good at compiling them all over the 2 weeks. And there were so many articles about Kyle lesbian rumors, and it's Kyle spreading all of this to all of the blogs. Mm-hmm. Kyle, who's so sick of being talked about as being a lesbian. One article I found kind of interesting was that the cast supposedly, and this just comes from a source, just a source, guys. Who knows who it is? Probably Kim. It's probably Kim. Mm-hmm. But the source is that the cast doesn't even believe that Kyle's a lesbian anyway. They think that she's just using it for attention, which I think is what a lot of the audience believes too. But it's nice to hear the cast jumping on that too. What do you think? Do you think her whole thing with Morgan is fake?
I am going to say I think that she enjoyed the titillation and of it all, and I think she enjoyed the attention. She I do think that I think that she had like a girl crush on Morgan, and I think it was like cool to her that there was like this cool lesbian that was like into her and everything. Whether or not Kyle is a lesbian, I'm not sure. I mean, you know, when at the first episode of the season when she had that like leather and denim party or whatever, I mean, it was definitely giving like some lesbian vibes. But now, I don't know. I can also see Kyle just being like really into the fact that she's like, this is so cool. I've got like someone young who's like into me, who thinks I look cool. So who knows?
Well, this is coming up today because TMZ caught Garcelle at the airport because Garcelle had her first granddaughter. So congratulations, Garcelle. So she was traveling around, I guess, visiting or whatever. And they caught her at the airport and they said, Garcelle, do you apologize to Kyle for saying that she should just be happy being a lesbian if she's a lesbian? And Garcelle gave a very definite no. As her answer. She said, no, I was just saying, you know, if that's what she wants to do. I'm not saying she is or she isn't, just if that's what she wants. I was trying to be supportive. Oh. And I won't say I'm sorry because Kyle still hasn't apologized for calling me an asshole on the after show. So there you go.
Yeah, there we go. So the simmering tensions between Garcelle and Kyle continue on, etc. Countess Luann story. Here we go. I'm pulling it up with Tilda Swinton. So
I just wanted to give you something because I know you're Countess Luann. You love your Countess.
I really
threw
do.
Ben a little bone into links today.
And I did see this in passing, like over the last week. I was like, what? Tilda Swinton, Countess Luann? The headline says it all. Countess Luann. Tilda Swinton told me, darling, I love what you do. I guarantee Tilda Swinton had no idea who Countess Luann was. She was just like, oh, wow, it's a lady in a bejeweled conductor's hat.
She thought she was the waiter in the cabaret restaurant, you know? She was like, I love the drink that you brought me, Johnny.
It was just Fraser from Below Deck. She's like, wow, Tilda Swinton not only said she loved what I do, she asked me if I wanted a cocktail. How kind of her.
What's the difference with the Countess Cabaret compared to your last UK shows? She says, I've changed it with the Countess Cabaret. It's all new. I'll be performing all of my hit songs that my fans love. I'll be covering David Bowie this time around. Pink. Man, this woman has heels of steel. I swear to God.
Luann's just going to dangle from the roof, the ceiling of every venue now. Whoa!
I'll be covering a little Pavarotti, a little, Sarah Vaughan. Speaking of the best singers in the world. It's Pavarotti, right? God damn it. Pavarotti. And that's another thing. I was just talking today about housewives mess up my vocabulary by using the wrong words, and then I think they're real words forever. And Parvati is one of them. Traitors. So now I keep thinking Pavarotti is Parvati. Stop this.
The ghost of Pavarotti is in the turret. So Luann says that Swinton approached her after a London performance and said, darling, I love what you do. You spread so much joy. And then she extended an invitation to her Scottish estate.
Yeah. I did go. It was wonderful. She went to Tilda Swinton's Scottish estate. What was that like?
This did not happen. Luann is on drugs. This is crazy. No way. This is a hallucination. I'm telling you right now.
You think she's lying about Tilda?
No, it's so wild. My brain just won't accept it. that Tilda Swinton went to her Countess Luann show and then said, come to my estate. And then Luann went to the estate. I need to see a photos or it never happened.
Yeah. Your shows seem to attract quite a diverse audience, Luann. Well, there's women in sparkly outfits, older women in sparkly outfits, younger women in sparkly outfits, gays in sparkly outfits. It really is a United Colors of Benetton ad in there. Lots of ladies in sparkly outfits.
You lived in Europe before. Does that make these tours feel special? Oh, yes. Well, I miss Europe. I lived in Switzerland and France for over a decade, and the UK. I'm looking forward to fish and chips and all those other crazy things they eat out there. And in Ireland, to Guinness and their whatever they pour that dark thing into the glass. What is it called? Whatever. And I have friends in the UK, William and Kate and all of them. So I'm looking forward to seeing them. I love people. I love that they love to party. And I love that they love the housewives. And most of all, I just love all British men. What can I say? I plan to fuck around a lot in London.
They're like, wow, why does your music connect so well with audience? Well, I was on the front lines there when I realized that basically people are hard of hearing. It's very difficult when you feel so alone and you're hard of hearing, but to find so many people with no tone really touches me, Andy. Thank you very much. This isn't Andy. This is Attitude Magazine. Whatever, Andy Magazine. Thank you. Thank you all for coming to this interview. Thank you so much. Grateful.
And for those who want to see me doing a duet with Mr. Bean, I will be at Glasgow, Manchester, Belfast, Dublin, Bristol, and just all sorts of British places. If there's a sheep, I'll be there.
I'll be there. That was Michael Jackson, everybody, for this feud. So the next story, this one is probably not cool to talk about, but I have to talk about it because I'm really curious. And it's Brandy Glanville undergoes 4 biopsies by Terry Dubrow to figure out the cause of her facial disfigurement. And of course, she's doing it on camera because it's botched. And she said that Dubrow removed small samples of tissue from her face to determine the cause of her health issues. And so she got 4 biopsies from her face and necks, and they don't know. They don't know yet what it is. But I'll be telling you this, that's going to be the highest rated episode of Botched I've ever watched because there'll be +1 people watching it. Me. I want to know what it is. Are they worms? What are they? She said they're moving around her face. Do you think she's just tripping?
I don't know. It's crazy because I do remember when Terry Dubrow, we talked about this a few months ago, that he stepped outside. He was like, oh, hello, TMZ. Wasn't expecting you there. Well, I am ready with any questions that I may have already prepared for because I knew you'd be here. What's the story? What do you need to know? And he was like, she is a time bomb. She needs to be taken care of stat. So it's good that he's finally taking care of it. But now they got to get to the bottom of it. It's scary. I mean, the idea that something is crawling around in her face is so disturbing. And I don't know how they're also not able to destroy it already. Can't they just shoot it with poison and
just shoot it? Just shoot it.
Just shoot it.
Just you have to have a very, very good aim.
Just slap it out of there.
Glanville spent over $70,000 trying to find a resolution, with some doctors suggesting she had a parasite that jumps around her face, while others believed it was stress-induced angioedema. If there were worms jumping around your face, don't you think a doctor would be able to say? I mean, do they run that fast? Are they running under the skin? Catch the worms. How is this so confusing? I don't understand. I think it's filler.
And wasn't this? It was that she had gone out and gotten drinks with someone. Where did this all start again? What was the back? Do you remember what that backstory was? She went out with Phaedra, maybe.
Well, she was on the set. She's saying, of course, because she wants to blame Bravo for everything because she was still trying to sue them at that time. So she was like, you try to do something and then not only is my life ruined, this also happened, suggesting that she got this in Thailand when she was doing the Real Housewives girl trip in Thailand. And it was maybe something she ate. And so Bravo probably poisoned her and gave her worms in her face. And then the other housewives were like, well, we just have regular filler. So I'm not sure what she's talking about. We all ate the same chicken. So I think that was out. I think that one's out.
Gosh, it is such a strange and creepy story. I do want it resolved for her sake because it's must be incredibly unsettling to know that there's something in your face that is just burrowing around and actively botching you. But it's this
Botch, the active version.
Worm edition.
This season, chasing worms. Okay, yeah, that's depressing. Good luck though to Brandy. Nobody deserves whatever the fuck's going on over there. Okay, so now one of the biggest pieces of goss that's been going around the past week or so started after the last reunion for Real Housewives of New York City, which was quite explosive. Lots of pajamas, lots of sequined bathrobes or whatever the hell was going on that one. But Bravo Bad Girl on Twitter posted, I think it was on Twitter. I don't know. I'm assuming. But here's what it says. Blind item. Talk is getting louder that one of the New York housewives is harboring a huge secret that contradicts everything she's ever told us. And if this comes out, it will be the most explosive housewife scandals ever. And trust, she doesn't need any more bad publicity these days. Now, that's a blind item. Who knows? Blind items can be a lot of different things. They can be a lot of different people. But people are, of course, zeroing right in on Bryn and just making insane guesses. What do you think?
Well, it's got to be about Bryn because no one else has bad press. Because the press doesn't generally care about the people on this show. But Bryn has bad press, really, really bad press. If this comes out, it will be the most explosive housewife scandal ever. I don't know. I can't imagine anything that explosive from Bryn. If the news is that Bryn it was a sugar mama or something like that, I don't know. That's not that explosive, right? Not sugar mama, but sugar baby. Yeah, I don't know what could be explosive. It's hard for me to think of the term explosive with New RHONY, but I think it would definitely have to do based on how they set it up. I have to assume Bravo Bad Girl is talking about Bryn.
It's especially hard because it's Real Housewives of New York. And when you say explosive, we try not to compare to the old cast, but they had that whole explosive diarrhea story on the Cartagena boat. You remember? That was a real part of the plot. So you can't say Real Housewives of New York and explosive and get me to care because I've already been so disgusted by that last episode. So yeah, I don't really know what it could be about with Bryn that would shock me, but the guesses are crazy. And just reading them all, I've been obsessively reading these threads. I'm like, oh my God. And let me just say, people have a very low opinion of Bryn for the most part with some of these guesses. I'm like, damn. But someone posted today, do you think this is it? Because there was an article in Interview magazine, and it's about the Armory's Young Collectors Night in New York City. Thursday, 8:22 p.m., January 30th, 2025, Uptown. It's safe to say there were as many characters as unique wares on display last Thursday night at the Park Avenue Armory. Art lovers and some stragglers looking for an open bar ventured uptown for the winter show's Young Collectors Night to comb through the collections and people watch. Bryn Whitfield of the Real Housewives of New York entered on the arm of a silver fox. And that was it. But people were like, do you think this is it? Do you think she's really dating an old person?
That's the scandal that will explode, break the internet. Bryn Whitfield dating an older man. I mean, people on Reddit, what I'm seeing here on the link is most people are guessing that she lied about her childhood, which would be wild. I think honestly,
she's really married. I saw that one a lot. She's really married and has family or something, which that would be crazy.
Yeah, the worst. Yeah, it could get. If she lies about her childhood, that could be there's no coming back from that, I think. But I don't know. I believe her about her childhood. I don't think that's a lie. But that's what's sad. But here's why you shouldn't lie, because the thing is that now you have people like us on the internet who now question anything you say. So she sounds like she had a really traumatic and terrible childhood, and she does have a brother to sort of back up those stories. So there's that. But
unless she's married to her brother and he's not her brother at all. I mean, that's how the guesses start making me crazy. And that's why I'm not even going to read any of the guesses, because I don't know. Then that puts us in a position of being like, well, would she do this or wouldn't she do this? It's just pretty crazy that she's gotten herself into such a tiny box that people are even questioning her to this degree. And man, people hate her. And the other thing I question is this Armory show, because if that's the opening celebrity for your article, that sounds like a sad show. They're like, wow, the glamorous Winter Armory collection. Enter Bryn Whitfield.
I know.
Huh?
I know. The other
were neither of the Dakotas available?
Another big piece of news that people have been talking about, and they keep on talking about it, is whether or not Paige DeSorbo and Joe D'Amelio are really dating, because that was the guy that she went to and saw the football game with. And when we did Watch What Happens Live last week, Austin said on the show that they definitely are dating. And then we heard from an old queen at the bar that they are also definitely dating with they said they had very, very strong evidence to it. But the question is, do we really believe any of this? Is this just people who just want this to happen?
I think they're dating because she just went on vacation with him. Paige, this is, let me see. Who is this? Reality blurb. Report. Paige DeSorbo and Joe D'Amelio are getting serious and vacationing in Miami as Craig Conover unfollows Summer House ex after split. So Craig is unfollowed. I mean, I don't see the problem with her dating, even if she is dating, And we had said this already on the Summer House thing, but I wish you got to talk behind the bar because their whole poor Craig, and Paige was so mean to Craig. No, she wasn't. You're allowed to break up with somebody and then date somebody else. Austin, was Austin suggesting there was overlap on the show?
I think he was. I think he suggested it, but he didn't outright say it.
Yeah, well, Austin's
well, actually, there's
anything like that, but
there is an item about it on Reality Blurb. The headline says Paige DeSorbo claps back at Austin Kroll for saying her romance with Joe D'Amelio is not a rumor on Watch Happens Live. See Summer House's stars post. So Paige was not happy with all that, and Paige said, yes, a man I haven't spoken to in 6 months knows exactly what I'm doing, and then she added.
But I'd like to add, not a denial is the thing. And I think that's what's making people go cuckoo because they're like, didn't deny it, Paige. Frankly, I don't care. I don't care if she's fucking some guy.
Yeah, if they're broken up.
For her. She broke up with Craig and she's with some new guy now. I don't know. She wasn't married to the guy. But I don't know. I've already said kind of team Paige on that just because Craig seems like a total asshole to me. And I'm not going to forget that Winter House throwing his money everywhere saying he's too rich to clean now. Mm-hmm. You're never too rich to clean, sir. You are never too rich to clean.
Yeah. Never too rich. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Go on. No,
another Paige article that came out is Paige DeSorbo is freezing her eggs as security following split from Craig Conover, which is also, making Craig crazy because she laughed at him when he wanted to freeze his sperm.
Sometimes we see this, I've definitely known a few people in my life and I've seen it happen on, I feel like some of these shows, maybe I'm wrong, where people are like, yeah, I don't I'm not interested in having a kid. I don't even want to freeze my eggs or anything. I don't want it. And then they get out of this long-term relationship. And then the next relationship, they get pregnant right away. So sometimes, I think that for sure, when people say they don't want to have a kid, I believe them that they don't want to have a kid. But also I think that sometimes if you don't see yourself truly with someone, you're also probably not very motivated to have a kid with them. I feel like, yes, I know it's generalization because people do unfortunately have kids with people that they don't like whatsoever. But I'm just saying that sometimes there's more to it than just I don't want to have kids. And so I forget where I was even going with this. The point is, yes, it might make Craig crazy that Paige is preparing for kids, but maybe that's because she's doing this because ultimately she just knew in the back of her head Craig is just not someone I ever want to have kids with.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't really want Craig's sperm or frozen sperm. I feel like that would hurt Craig. You don't want to freeze Craig's brain in time. It still needs some maturing. You know what I mean? But then there's the whole thought of whose sperm do you get? Because do you go for looks or brains? You know what I mean? Because we were talking to a friend of ours the other day and they are going through the process right now, the IVF process, and they have frozen embryos and now they're picking sperm. And so I guess in a sperm bank, you actually go through the books. And our friend was like, oh yeah, I was looking for hot people because they're so ugly. She was like, RHONY, sperm donors are ugly. And I was like, is that true? She goes, yeah, they're really homely. I don't know what it is about dudes who donate sperm, but they're really homely. And so she said a hot guy came on the market and she'd been obsessively looking, when you're looking for, when you were looking for your Kia, or me when I was looking for Bueller, you're waiting for the perfect thing. And she was like, and finally a hot guy came up. It was the first hot guy in a month. And so I bought all the vials that were left and they were already selling out of his vials. It's wow. Does he have that on his LinkedIn or his Instagram bio? My sperm sold out in record time, bitch. And she ended up doing a reverse lookup on this guy and finding out everything about him. And I was like, well, why does that matter? Because all you care is that she's hot. She goes, well, you'd also like to possibly know if they're intelligent, And I just loved that she was placing the hotness so far above the intelligence factor. And I was like, I wonder how people do pick,
Yeah. Because it's fun to I think that on some level, people feel like, okay, well, I can always, if I'm like a really good parent, I could like teach my kid to be smart. I can educate them, but like hotness is hotness. So I feel like on some level, there's like a sense that like hotness feels so entwined with genetics. You're like, let's see what I can do. I think I can do the
You
nourish
can educate educate a hot person, but you can't like, make an ugly person hotter, I guess.
Right.
So
I think that's probably the
theory?
thinking. But, sometimes with a hot person, the education, you can educate as much as you want, but some people are just hot and only hot.
Well, some people in the comments are asking who I'm talking about because we had a weekend in New York. I'm talking about Patricia. Patricia has been going through the storm.
I don't know who you're talking about.
I'm not telling anybody.
It's okay. Not only do I not know, it's okay. I'm not like, oh my God, I can't wait to find out who like froze their eggs. Like I literally don't care. Like not saying your story was bad. I'm just saying like, that's just not the sort of.
I don't care about them when they're unfrozen. I don't care about them when they're frozen. All right.
Just tell me when the baby arrives, honestly.
My first reaction when she was like, we froze our eggs, I said, that's actually so smart because they're so expensive now because of the egg shortage. And she was like, no.
That's
our lady eggs. And I was like, oh, yeah, I was going to ask you how you freeze eggs. I didn't know that you could freeze eggs. Literally the whole time she was talking, I was like, should I be freezing eggs? Because
is the egg shortage over yet? Egg. When is the egg shortage going to end?
When birds stop giving us crazy diseases. And you know what? Listen, I want to just go back to end this whole night with Karen because we've, talked about Karen in the beginning. Karen warned us all, and you guys can hate on Karen, and Karen's probably going to go to jail, and she probably deserves to go to jail. And you guys can hate on her all you want, but sometimes you have to listen to even people you don't like. And Karen warned us last season, chickens are dirty birds. There. She said it. And now look.
Yeah.
Now she's a fucking prophet, and you want to send her to prison?
Well, you know what? I'm just going to have to resort to fake eggs. So I guess I've earned myself a McGriddle.
All right. Well, we are going to go to the audience portion of tonight's show. So anybody listening on audio or watching on Instagram, thank you so much for being with us. We love you guys. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Everybody on YouTube, just hold tight because we are going to be taking your questions for the next 15 minutes or so. Bye, everybody. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Bye.
Watch What Crappens would like to thank its premium sponsors. Ain't no thing like Allison King.
Our way is the Amber way.
It's always automatic with Ashley Auto.
Ashley Savoni, she don't take no baloney.
Put your hands together for Carly Clapp. Catherine DiBernardo has our hearto.
Get on the right foot with Chrissy Offutt. Dana C. Dana Do.
She's not just a Sheila, she's a Daniela. Etchels.
Aaron McNicholas, she don't miss no trickolas. Jamie, she has no last namey. You'll never hide from Heidi Eleanor Jones. I go, you go, we all go for Hugo.
Hava Nagila Weber. Know your worth with Jason Kurth.
We could all learn from Jennifer Kearns.
She's our kind of mess. It's Jennifer Messer.
Sip some scotch with Jessica Trotch.
Knock, knock, knocking on Katie Mannock's door. She's our favorite streamer, Caroline Peacock.
Kristen the Piston Anderson. Get a bee in your bonnet with Lacey B.
Bringing the funk, it's Leslie Plunkett.
She gets a name from us. It's Lindsay D. Let's give a kisserino to Lisa Lino. Fresh as a daisy, it's Maisie McHenry. We love her on the rocks, it's Melissa Cox. Megan Berg, you can't have a burger without the Berg.
This is Livin' with Michelle Vivian.
I love ya, Olivia Williamson. Tastier than Flanderson, it's Rachel Manderson.
Have a heck of a time with Rebecca. She sure is swell, it's Raquel.
Yes, we canna, it's Savannah.
Cast a spell with Shannon Spellman. The Bay Area Betches. Betches.
And our super premium sponsors. She's VVIP, it's Amanda V.
Somebody get us 10 cc's of Betsy MD. She's got a leg up, it's Beth Ani.
We're taking the gold with Brenda Silva. Don't get salty with Christine Pepper. Can't have a meal without the Emily Sides.
Nobody holds a candle to Jamie Kendall. We got our wish, it's Jen Plish.
She's not harsh, she's Jill Hirsch.
She's a little bit loony. Junie. My favorite Murdo, Karen McMurdo. We love him madly, it's Kyle Pod Shadley.
Let's go on a bender with Lauren Fender.
We're Ride or Die for Lisa Ryder Barron. She's a whiz, it's Liz Sarthy. Always killing it, it's Lola Alkalani.
The incredible edible Matthews sisters. She eases our woes, it's Melissa St. Rose.
Give him hell, Miss Noel.
Put on a kettle for Rebecca Weddle.
She's the queen bee. It's Sarah Lemke.
Shannon, out of a cannon, Anthony. Let's take off with Tamla Plain.
She ain't no shrinking Violet Kuchar. We love you guys.